Give an example from your life of how you achieved an objective.
Well, it's an interesting question. Mostly I think about it in the way of like life in general. When you're working on projects, there's always obstacles you have to overcome to reach your objective.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the best thing you can do with that is always be good at problem solving, like on the fly and improvising, which is something I actually like about the industries. There's a lot of instances where you have to, improvise, work around things. Nothing ever works out according to plan.
Mhm.
So objectives achieved, like whenever there's, I would say, like a lack in preparation on somebody you relied on, and they fell through. And then you have to figure out a way around it and over it because the show must go on. I see that as the most important thing when it comes to objectives like that.
Okay. And what happens when you think you're going to fail and you actually succeed?
Well, I would call that learning the easy way. Going back before, it's like, why did you feel like you failed? And then, going back to what I said earlier, it's just usually it's a lack of preparation. And so in that moment when you felt like you failed, but then turns out you actually succeeded, it's extremely relieving. You feel great, but also you're a little bit on edge because it was highly unlikely that was going to work out. So it's like I said, learning the easy way. You had a good experience, but you know what happened and you know what not to do again. So best case scenario.
Okay. And why is creative expression important to you?
Well, that depends. If I'm working in music recording, right, and I'm composing the beat or I'm mixing the music, then there's definitely a place for creative expression. In fact, it's essential. However, if I'm working as a sound engineer for KFI, KNX, NPR, and you give me the actualities of a story and you're like, this needs to be mixed and it needs to be 45 seconds to the T, I'm going to do that. I'm going to mix the 45 seconds to a T, just like you said. So there's cases where creative expression is essential. There's cases where like you wouldn't want a creative accountant, so it's kind of like that.
Okay. Give an example of an obstacle that you experienced, and how did you overcome the obstacle?
So a particular example of an obstacle is, well, I think it would be better to put it like this. For creative people, for our artists, content, creators kind of thing, I think the biggest obstacle is money. And also having the tools to complete your vision. Tools being equipment, right? And equipment costing money. So my passion is in audio, digital audio. So, microphones, mixers, interfaces, all of that stuff costs a lot of money. So what I found, as a workaround for that is doing things for free, working for free. And I put that in quotes because, if somebody like a friend or an acquaintance, they need a project done. Well, you can tell them, hey, I can do everything. I'll do the labor, all of that, completely for free. But the problem is, neither of us can get anywhere if we don't have X, this field recorder. We can't do it without this. And you say, hey, if you're willing to pay for this, I can do it for free. And if you need any other favors in the future, I can use it to help you with that too. And I've been doing that for a while, particularly with UCI. I got I had an acquaintance who's now a close friend, I'm happy to say, but he was he was in a corner, last minute situation, and he needed help with a live audio event. And I was there for him, and I said, hey, we need this, this, and this to get it done by Thursday or whatever it was. And helped him out there, and I've been a big, major help to UCI in that department ever since.
Cool. All right. And a list of things that you would bring to the table that define your uniqueness.
I think a good, I would say that my background is what kind of defines me as unique. I started with music. Ever since high school, I was deeply passionate about music, and I started honing a passion, honing my skills in digital audio, in my friend's apartment, using single track recorders and, just ragtag, old audio equipment to record, our music. And the feeling of, using Audacity to, mix 20 track, songs and albums, and then putting them on Spotify and being like, oh, I'm on Spotify, I recorded that. Like, I think that was where I really started, going, this is what I want to do. I want to work with audio, I want to work as a sound engineer, I love the equipment, super big nerd for hardware, that kind of stuff.
Okay. And what has been your source of inspiration?
I would say music, just like that again. I spent 2 years at Saddleback, just working on my music. I play bass, jazz, a lot of it. Anything where you have improvised music, and like I said, that was a very smooth transition into digital audio for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that would be my major inspiration.
Okay.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
Did you study with Joey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Joey's great.
You kind of already answered this one, so I'll go to the next one. When is the last time you learned a new skill, and describe it and why?
Last time I learned a new skill. Well, it was a fun one. A few days ago, I was working on a cover for a friend of mine who wanted to, do a cover of a Beyonce song, right? So I wrote out all of the, music, for a backing track for her to, so I could track her vocals on it.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it turned out she couldn't do it that day. She couldn't, record here, and things got messed up. We were both busy. But yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago, I don't remember. But I was like, hey, you know what? I can't sing for my life. But I wanted to know how to work this. It's a software vocoder. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically you talk into a microphone, and you hold down a key on a piano, and it will sing the note, and it will say what you're saying. So you could be saying it, like singing any note, and it could be completely wrong. But as long as you're holding the right note on the piano, it matches that, and it says your words. It kind of sounds like robot, like Daft Punk uses that a lot. A lot of people know that. So I was like, you know what? I really want to know how to do this on the software base, because I had this hardware synthesizer that did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to route that and code it so that would work. A little bit unrelated, but it was tons of fun, and made a robot voice sound like Beyonce, and it was great.
All right. And if you couldn't get into this field, what would you be doing?
Well, I don't really see myself working anywhere other than digital audio, because that's my passion. But I don't see that as a flaw or no plan B, just because I wanted to make I wanted to be as well-rounded as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So saying digital audio,
Yeah.
people go, okay, and so basically I'm saying, I could work with live audio, I could work in post-production mixing, I can work in music production, I can work in, just as a sound engineer, mixing stories for radio, doing TV, live TV, all of that. So, it's kind of like, if one of them doesn't work out, fine by me. I'll go over to radio. Oh, radio doesn't work out. Go into TV. TV doesn't work out. Can go live audio, stuff like that. So I kind of kept it very open, and that's kind of on purpose. It's kind of not. It's just I love the audio. So I'm happy to work anywhere within, the realm of digital audio.
Okay. And do you remember the initial moment when you realized you wanted to be in this field?
Yeah, like I said, it was around the time where, I was playing a lot of music. I was, playing in bars at the age of, 16, and I had some facial hair then, so no one would question it. If you're a 16-year-old, with some facial hair, walked into a bar with an instrument, as long as he was with other people, no one would question it. And I loved that. I loved playing music live. But it was really when, I was starting to record with my buddy. He was showing me all of the, cheap ways to do, like, to make it sound, professional. Like, oh yeah, we can record in, this way, have the bed sheets here, record in closets. We can do, record to a tape, and then, try to convert that to digital, because we just didn't have the money for a digital mixer. And it was that. It was learning on the fly, without classes or anything, how to really work with digital audio. And I found that to be my real passion, and I thought it was with music. So I would say that's when I found out.
Okay. Well, you're hired.
All right,
So,
thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're all good.